Welcome back everyone to the channel. So I want to show you a clip today which I think will absolutely amaze you. Not because you'll be surprised it's true, but be surprised that a former leader of a country and a so-called national party will say what they're about to say. And I'm on about Nicola Sturgeon, the former First Minister and leader of the SNP. And obviously the SNP stands for Scottish Nationalist Party. So take a look at this clip and what Nicola Sturgeon said about people in Scotland flying the colours, the Scottish flag. Take a look.
A little bit earlier in the programme, which is that apparently you are rather upset about the spreading of the Scottish saltire, the Scottish flag around Aberdeen. Now,
I was in Aberdeen at the weekend and
Yeah.
noticed some saltires on lampposts, which just took me a little bit by surprise.
Sorry, can I just check, you are still a Scottish nationalist?
Yeah.
Okay, Scottish saltire, the iconic symbol of Scottish nationalism.
But I suspect it's not been put on lampposts to, spread that sort of positive view of Scotland. But do you know something? And this probably will come as a bit of a surprise to you guys and to people listening. For all that I am a Scottish independence supporter, I've never been that, into flags. I think we should get less worked up about flags. Flags don't have personalities of their own. They will portray a good image of a country if the country has a good image and vice versa. So I think maybe just if we all calm down a little bit about flags these days.
But you were the person who noticed there were a lot of flags. And
I was asked about it. I was asked about it when I was doing an interview.
But you didn't say, wonderful, display the flag if you want to, let's celebrate the flag.
Of course, everybody should display the flag if they want to.
You've just cast aspersions on the people who are raising those flags.
I haven't cast aspersions.
You said you wondered why they were raising them.
It was unusual. I have never in all my time in politics and in all my, I'll whisper this for a minute, 55 years on this planet, I've not been aware of lots and lots of flags on lampposts before. So I simply commented in response to a question about it that it was something that took me a little bit by surprise. That is it.
What do you think, just on this issue, and try not to get too worked up about it. I don't mind if someone displays a saltire or not. But what do you think is behind the proliferation?
I think we're seeing it in the news. It is, I think, partly about, people making, and you can, take your view about whether this is well-based or not, making points about immigration and the levels of immigration. Look, I think people should be perfectly free to fly the flag. I think we should probably worry.
And there you see Nicola Sturgeon, probably being the most honest she's ever been. And it takes the presenters by surprise. They say, hang on a minute, just remind us, are you still a nationalist? Was you the leader of the Scottish Nationalist Party? Of course, I'm paraphrasing. But you see the point. The Scottish National Party was all about putting the interests of the Scottish people first. So how can you be, in her words, surprised with a disgust look on her face that people are flying Scottish flags? Well, like the establishment here in England and Wales. The establishment think that anybody raising the colours is a bigot and a racist. There's an agenda behind the scenes. You only have to look into stuff like Common Purpose to see that the big players of the New World Order, the elites, whatever you want to call them, they want to mix nations. If you have a lot of people who are not from an area and you want to change that area, they've not got a history of that area, they're going to fight back a lot less. Now you'll see parties like the Scottish National Party, and when it was formed, it may well have been genuine, but you put somebody in charge of it who is one of these puppets for the elites, and they're going to give the same narrative. Nicola Sturgeon was probably in all the same groups that people like Keir Starmer was in. They basically act and speak exactly the same. Out of all the big parties, anybody at the moment who's getting a decent chunk of the vote share, there's only actually Reform UK that speaks any different than the other parties. Take a look at Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservatives. When she first ever ran for leader, she was speaking out about trans issues. Now, you'll never hear her speak that type of language again. You've got Reform UK, and then you've got liberal left-wing parties. Obviously, you've got Jeremy Corbyn's new party, which probably is a true left-wing party, but you've got the Lib Dems, You've got the Labour Party, the Liberal Conservative Party, all speaking this same language. It doesn't shock me at all that Nicola Sturgeon isn't a nationalist. I never thought she was. But what shocks me is just a few years, I should say, after being the leader of the SNP and the First Minister, that she would openly admit a disgust for the Scottish flag and basically admit she's not a nationalist. Just like Tony Blair did when he was no longer the Prime Minister. He admitted that he used to ring Margaret Thatcher up for advice, and his job was not to change what she'd done or undo it. It was actually to progress what she'd done. Can you imagine that type of campaign talk when he got elected in 1996? It would have never happened. The left would have ripped him apart. But like I said, these people are all part of the same groups with the same agenda. But let me know what you think about Nicola Sturgeon and her disgust, and are the SNP any different now under new leadership? I think not. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.